So let's move on to the next speaker right now, Mr. Bernd Becker. He is the chairman of Eurocloud and a former member of the board of the German Internet Internet Association. And he started his career at Nixdorf Computers, and he also runs he's an entrepreneur as well. He runs his own business with a Scout to Cloud service since 2010. Please give us your view.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I would like to introduce Eurocloud in a way that we are as old as CSA is, starting in 2009. And the very first thing we did when we started was that we looked at the legal situation. We found a discussion on the market majorly initiated by lawyers saying cloud is not possible because it is not in line with the German data security law. And that was a starting point of our activities. By chance, we had a lot of internet-oriented lawyers in our organization which said, yes, it is possible, but it is not that easy. You really need to know what to do. And that basically resulted in a guideline on law, data security, and compliance, which is available on our website and in printing, and which got downloaded quite often, and it is still valid. So in fact, it is a challenge to deal with the data security regulation. One of the learnings we had at that time was that a customer who is not an IT professional is obliged to identify whether a provider is reliable or not. But in fact, how shall he do? If he is a pump manufacturer somewhere in the countryside, he will not be able to do so. So we felt it is very important that he has a decision support from a separate neutral organization telling him whether a provider is reliable or not. And that was a starting point when we developed you can call it a certification, you can call it a quality seal, whatever. It was a way looking from a customer's perspective, what is relevant to him in his business when it comes to cloud computing. And then it is related to the contract and to the SLAs in the contract. And it is related to data security and data privacy. And it is related to the way the service is provided, whether it is high availability in reference to the service level agreements, or it is just a less mission critical type of use. And it is related to the processes conducted in the data center. So that was where we developed that quality seal, which we launched in 2010. And then we recognized we had another learning. The learning was cloud is not something which is provided by just one provider, maybe with the exception of the global players who have everything in their own company. But cloud in a small media-oriented environment like we have here in Europe with our 20 million enterprises, that is small media enterprise. And cloud provided by small media enterprise providers means that they have to go into partnerships. There is a software vendor dealing with a data center provider who is dealing with a co-locator who is dealing with an internet service provider, and so you have several companies involved in one service. And then you look to the existing certification schemes, even if they are high quality, but they are designed to a company. So what can you do with one company being certified in a value chain where several others are involved? That doesn't bring you further. So our approach was to certify a service horizontally covering all the parties involved in that chain. And that is what we have in place. And there is a second impact with it as well. High quality certifications are very expensive. And if you look for, let's talk about ISO 27001, which is just as an example. You may take others as well. It's just 70, SSR 16. They are high-quality certifications just in one field, but they do not cover the other fields. But they are that expensive that most of the small media enterprises cannot afford. They cannot spend 50,000 euro for a external certification and spending another 50,000 just to keep their employees busy with preparing that certification. So we felt that we have to find a way to make a high-quality certification affordable for small media enterprises. And that ended up in a modular setup where we take into account whatever is already certified in another area which we can take into account. And that is the way we are following on that. And the last sentence in that regard is, once we have companies being involved in that value chain, they are not all from one country. There is a, let's say, German provider providing cloud services on the market, but he is dealing with a data center provider coming from another country, and his co-locator is from a different country as well. So you have, in one value chain, several legal frameworks involved, and it is very difficult to deal with that. And therefore, it is a clear need for harmonization on the European basis, even better on a global basis, but let us do one step in between, which is on the European basis. And for the security of the cloud users, those certification schemes are really needed to help them identifying trustful service.
Do you have a kind of a sticker or anything, or a logo that shows the certification?
Once the certification is in place, the provider, of course, or that service will be certified with a logo, and that logo says what is the name of the service which got certified, who is a provider, how long is it valid, and for which countries, European countries, is it in place. So you can certify a service for one country, and for another country, it is according
Why isn't it for the whole member states, for the whole?
Well, that can be done as well, of course, but that means
costly.
That means that you have to adjust to the legal frameworks which are involved in that.
So how much would it cost me? I'm a small cloud provider, let's assume. I can't go for the ISO process, so how much would it cost me for Germany and for Europe?
I missed one point. I should say that we are following the 5-star approach, like you know, with the hotels. And you probably prefer not to stay in a 1 or a 2-star hotel, but you say everything above 3 is fine. And our approach is that you at least need to achieve 3 of the 5 stars to call yourself a trustful provider. 3 stars also mean that it is, let's say, not a service which is valid for a mission-critical environment, but you have a high security level. 5 stars means that is the flagship. That means you have redundancy and failover and everything in place.
I'm going for the flagship, of course.
So 5 stars would mean the costs are in the range of
4 to 5.
27,000 euros, something like that. The 3-star certification is in the range of 13,000 euros. That is a difference to those 50,000, and it can be also further being optimized once making use of the modular setup.
Okay. Thank you. Last but